Okay, my friends, Trinidad and Tobago, those of you who are locked on, those of you who are anticipating our program Hardfacts, that is aired Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays on this beautiful station, Sentinel Media Broadcasting. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, and my friends, we are live on TikTok. So those of you who are maybe having your lunch break at this point in time, maybe you are working supermarket, restaurant, maybe you're working gas station, you're working in hardware, you're working in a government office, and maybe this is your lunch break, and you would like to utilize your time properly. We are giving you an opportunity to call us and let us know what is taking place in your neck of the woods. Whether things are good, things are bad, things are ugly, you have that opportunity to call us at 372-2129. That's the number that you can reach us in studio and let us know what is taking place around your communities. I know for a fact that right now politics is only the front burner. We are seeing driving around, we are seeing lots and lots and lots of traffic, especially on Sundays and afternoon, and so many things are happening in our communities. My friends, it is a politics season. This is going to go until Sunday night. People are going to be campaigning, giving advice, giving admonition, making promises, and everything that is possible to ensure that you vote for either the PNM or the United National Congress. Because I tell you something, the other political entities, maybe they could make a dent, but my whole problem with those smaller parties is that you all have the voice. In many cases, you are the only one who would highlight atrocities that is being perpetrated by the elements in our society, whether it be from governmental agencies, whether it be from the private sector, or wherever it may be coming from. But you know something, you all only show your heads around the election time. And that really and truly is a no-no for me. For example, our program Hardfacts, we have been here on the airwaves for the past 2 years. And every week, my friends, every single week, we advance ourselves in identifying the challenges and what is happening and how we can really and truly do something to better our country and our communities. And that is what we are doing. Why it is that the other political entities, why it is that you all don't do those things? Why it is that only now you are seeing the faults of the government? Where were you? Only now, you, the opposition, you are seeing the faults of the government. Where were you for the past 10 years? Why can't you mobilize? Why was you know that not in your front, or whether it be in your palate or not, or in your mental faculties? Why it is that you were not really and truly coming out and identifying those things? Now you are finding the faults of everything, and nothing is good. The PNM have done nothing good. That's basically what you are saying. And you know what is taking place again? All other entities going to speak about maybe the United National Congress has not been a good opposition. That is what is happening in our country. But come after Monday, my friends, those of you who are locked on, we have to really and truly come out. We're not going to get a vacation. We're not going to get a bonus. We're not going to get any extra monies in our pockets. We have to go back outside there and work. That's the reason why when we make decision, Monday night is Monday is a day of decision making, where you would go in that ballot box and you really and truly identify if this is the candidate that you want. Is this the political party I want to carry me for the next 5 years? And if not, my friends, you have to make that change. We don't want to exchange. It's either or. It's either you vote the PNM or either you vote the United National Congress. That is what we have been talking about. We have been going around. We have been campaigning. We have been talking to people. We have been identifying. And we are not telling people in any way. We are not convincing anybody. We're not going to push our hands and we're not going to choke somebody and tell them, well, here what? You all have to vote this party. We are identifying the challenges that many people are plagued with on a daily basis, and we are helping you in this program make decisions. And we are asking you also, come out in your numbers, call us 372-2129 and let us know what is taking place around you. So again, my friends, I want to welcome my co-host, Mr. Premchand Baldev. We are here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, starting time 12:15 in the afternoon. We spend about an hour with you. We take this opportunity to thank those persons who have really and truly continued to support our program. continue to support us by calling and giving us information and identifying our views and so forth. We thank you wholeheartedly. And we also thank the negative commenters, those persons who feel they know everything. They know everything because they're supporting one party, the other party, or the other 15 parties is not good. That is the attitude of many of those persons. And when you look at the track record, you are seeing failure upon failure upon failure. Right? So those of you who are on, again, Prim, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Ivan. My friends, good afternoon, assalamu alaikum, and namaste. Welcome to the program Hardfacts, viewed on Sentinel Media Live Broadcasting. We are here with you Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from approximately 12:15 p.m. But this week, we'll be here with you every day from 12:15 p.m. with the exception of Friday, Imam, is it?
Yeah.
Friday and Sunday. We will not be here on those 2 days, right? So we'll be here bringing you pertinent information that probably you are aware of or you are not aware of. You will be made aware of that in this program. A lot of groundwork has been done and is being done by the Imam and the staff here and myself also in sourcing out this information from credible, from credible sources, so to speak. Now, my friends, the election bell has rung. The election fever, the election temperature is at its peak. Just today is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 3 more days for campaigning. Then there's a lull, there's a rest break. There's Sunday, that is law. You are not going to campaign on Sunday. And then Monday, your mind is already made up, where you would be heading towards the poll, to dip this trigger finger, the index finger, in making a decision that will chart your life and that of your children, your loved ones, your elderly parents, and society at large for the next 5 years. Imam, that is a frightening thing.
Correct.
I am going to put my X, 1 second only to stamp that ballot with that red X, and that is going to determine my quality of life, that of my children, the safety and whatnot, and affordability of food and public amenities and that sort of thing for 5 years. That is a serious, serious decision. Okay? That is like somebody is waiting on death row to be executed. Any number could play, provided you have a good lawyer. Now, my friends, the citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago, the general populace, so to speak, are questioning the integrity, the credibility, the character and transparency of certain candidates that are vying for supremacy in the upcoming general elections in Trinidad and Tobago 2025. And that is a question everybody should be asking themselves and making investigations into. But before we go into that, on Monday, you need to have your ID card with you when you go to the polling station to cast your vote. You cannot go with the ballot paper alone that was sent in the mail. You need to have your ID card with you, or a driver's permit, or your passport, any form of ID that is valid. Then you'll be able to cast your vote. Without the ID, that decision will be left wholly and solely upon the person in charge of that polling station, Imam. Right? Now, my friends, coming back to the character of certain individuals who are contesting the general elections, listen to what Sentinel Media Broadcasting came up with. I'm going to do just 2, and during the course of the program, I'll do another 2 maybe if we get a chance, because I want to hand over to the Imam. There is a political party that is going up for the general elections, and they are contesting 39 seats, or 34 somewhere there, right? And these are some of the remarks that have been made against certain candidates that are going up for a selection. This individual, I'm not going to call the name, this individual is wanted around the world for corruption and is currently on an extradition charge. He loves the color green and will never be seen near an airport, not even to buy doubles. That individual is on a platform. Another one, just 2 I'm going to give you. Loves football. Said the TTPS is the enemy. Fired for racist rants and likes to put his picture on garbage bins and garbage trucks. He is on record saying the UNC can't lead this country out of a paper bag. These are comments made by people on the ground floor about some of the candidates that are going up. Put in that X to determine your future for 5 years put it against credible people who have credible character, Imam.
Okay, so Trinidad and Tobago, and those of you who are locked on watching our TikTok here, you can join, you can watch us on Facebook, you can join us on TikTok, you can send information. Let us know what is taking place, because here it is, we are dissecting. And you know something, when we look at what is happening here, we are seeing it is only one political entity, really and truly, people are gravitating to at this point in time, simply because they feel, a lot of people feel that, you know, we can go there and we can fill our pockets and we can fill our bags and, you know, we can benefit from that. But again, Trinidad and Tobago, you have to understand, can this country facilitate that type of wanting, that type of desire, that type, because I tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago at this point in time, we really and truly need to tread lightly when it comes to spending. Very, very important. And I've seen this taking place presently. And maybe again we could wish the Honorable Kamal Prasad Bisesa belated happy birthday, because I know there was merriment and you know, fanfare and so forth in celebration with her birthday. That was, I think, yesterday. So on behalf of Sentinel Media Broadcasting, let us take this opportunity to wish the Honorable Kamal Prasad Bisesa belated happy birthday. Matters not, some of you might say that we're just saying that because we want to say that. Let me tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago. We are here. Election is going to come, election is going to go. And we are going to continue in this very said manner, identifying some of the challenges that we are plagued with on a daily basis. How long does it take? How long does it take to get a water connection in Trinidad and Tobago? How long does it take to get an electricity connection in Trinidad and Tobago? How long does it take to do this and that and the next? Because we are seeing, and you know something, not everything that you hear from your different MPs or your different ministers, really and truly, you have to swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Eh? Let me tell you something. Because last week, what, you know, bring my attention to something, that there's special committees, right, that is set up by the government of the day. And those committees would have been talking about infrastructural work or development work that's supposed to be taking place. And that conversation, I heard Rohan Sinanan. And you know something, you would realize...
I have it here on my phone.
Yes, I would have said this. We are not likable people when it comes to the political foray. But the thing about it is the truth has to be told. The candidate for Shogunas East gone in that forum that they had discussion and they were talking about infrastructural work, and some information were given out, and that information would have been the Minister of Infrastructure, Rohan Sinanan, stated emphatically clear that he's willing to give the materials to repair certain roads in our country, and the labor should be provided by the different boroughs and so forth. And my friends, that is not really and truly. Every time you make some sort of complaint, or we need to get this done, or we need to get that done, first thing they tell you that, hear what, Imam, we in opposition, we can't do nothing. And secondly, my friends, they will say that they don't have any material, and that is reasons.
It's 10 years and going on.
Yeah,
and you buying it.
That is reasons.
You are swallowing that.
That is reason that has been nullified by Rohan Sinanan when he said to this. He said that money has already been allocated for certain projects, but those money are not being used. And secondly, my friends, when he said this, you know, it raised an alarm in my mind, stating that, here what, this man willing to give the material, why it is that the boroughs, whether it be the Shogunas Borough Corporation, whether it be Cuba Talparo, whether it be Debe Penal, wherever borough corporation that is in opposition, why it is that you all don't take the offer and take the material and utilize your workforces? And always, you know, in many places, people have been complaining that, Imam, we want you all to announce that, here what, we don't have, like for example, you know, sometimes you don't have diesel, sometimes you don't have a fan belt, your machine can't go and work because of a fan belt, and so many minor things that hinder the progress of movements in our society. And you know something, everything is pointing fingers at the government. Sometimes we need to really and truly understand clearly, is this people really truly doing what they're supposed to be doing? And most of the time we see that they're blatantly oppressive against the government or the opposition in some cases. And my friends, they are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And this is something that we have to be talking about, and we're going to continue this very, very sad trend, whether PNM win or government. But right now, I'll just give you a little up to date. In certain of the marginal seats, right, A lot of people, you know, the election is not fought in jubilancy in areas. We always tell you all, and those of you who are locked on here, those of you who are watching our program here on TikTok, you are encouraged to call us. You can call us at 372-2129. Let us know what is going on, because, you know, when we drive around on evenings especially, and we will notice that in certain areas, we've seen a lot of movements taking place with music trucks and flags and banners, and people are coming out and greeting and meeting. Those are user-friendly seats.
You know something, Imam, as you're on that topic, Trinidad and Tobago, we have a party in government for the past 10 years, which is the People's National Movement, and we have the legitimate opposition, which is United National Congress. All right? Many of you are saying, and we have said it in this program many a times, that in 9 or 10 years, the opposition never had a march in protest of what you say is failure of the government. How will they get the energy now to walk whole of Trinidad and Tobago? You know, to meet this one and to meet that one, and holding, you know, cottage meetings in every nook and cranny of the country. Why wasn't that being done for the last 9 years? You all need to come up and say something. Right? From the very first day, you all went into opposition in 2015. Right? You were supposed to be, you know, holding the government accountable, but you failed. You failed in the parliament, outside of the parliament. Now election is close by. You all are coming and kissing old people, kissing unborn babies, kissing children, kissing dog, kissing the people's gate. You know, what sense does it make? Stop that nonsense. Let me tell you something.
Wait,
Kissing the gate. Kissing the gate too. Yes. Listen, man. I did not come up. I don't want no hypocrisy come and hold my hand and tell me this and tell me that and the next. No, my friends. The United National Congress brought in a gentleman named Roger Alexander. You recall that?
Yeah, yeah.
Top brass from the police service, and that created a big explosion in the UNT foray and that sort of thing. Lo and behold, now. We saw the former Attorney General under the People's National Movement, John Jeremy, appearing on a UNC platform stage, and that was supposed, you know, to become a dynamite explosive sort of a reaction it's supposed to generate. But it did not. It did not. All right? So, UNC, what next? Which last straw do you all have again? Because as Imam just said, and from social media, bloggers, and from people on the street, that there are 5 seats that are presently under the United National Congress, that the voter participants is swinging away from the United National Congress. The UNC is really, really desperate at this moment. They are in troubled waters. No fault of mine. No fault. I am only a moderator here to mediate from the man in the street through the station and to bring it to you.
Like for example, Shogunas East. When we look at the momentum and the gravitation towards the PNM, you're going to realize that the movements is really and truly positive in that direction. And we look at La Joqueta. When we went across to La Joqueta, the people is totally red, And I walked that area in 2020, and I would have realized that a lot of work have been done, a lot of infrastructural work have been done by Foster Cummins and so forth. Again, I brought an example yesterday. And somebody was questioning, you know, why it is that, you know, we're not getting anything in the community. And I said, you know, who to blame for that? Who is to be blamed for that? Tell me. Are you going to blame the government? Are you going to blame, who are you going to blame for low representation in Parliament? Or even so much so, non-representation in Parliament? Because we had people in Parliament, and I could have counted in my fingers how many times they made contribution, and they are collecting exorbitant salaries for what? For office, for staff, for even transport and what have you, and vehicles, and you name it, and they collected money. And when you examine carefully what was the input that they really and truly provided when it comes to representation for the community that they were serving, you would have realized that maybe one budget debate for the year, and that would have been it. They were never called upon to really and truly identify in Parliament some of the atrocities, some of the anomalies, some of the hindrances that is plaguing their community. And I beg to ask the question here today, what is the whole purpose of having a Parliament? And you cannot go there and really and truly extend you know, the critiques of your constituency problems and so forth, why do you go to Parliament? If you are a person who has a constituency, for example, Shawana's West.
Again, it boils down to the Dinesh Rambali, Ruston Parry, Anita Hayes, and Mr. Ragbir, and the other, what was the other guy? Anyway, right? You know, they wanted to have a voice in the Parliament. We look at Parliament channel. I take excerpts from the Parliament proceedings and whatnot for this program. And they would, let me ask you a question. In the last year to year and a half, when did Ruston Parry, Dinesh Rambali, or Anita Hayes get a chance to speak on a UNC platform? Or on a Monday night forum, or on the midweek show that they have and whatnot? You won't see that. Now, as the Imam was speaking, there are over 50-something grants, somewhere around 57 or 60 grants available to Trinidad and Tobago citizens who needs help. And these grants are there. How many of how many of your representatives ever tell you about that these grants are available? Here what to do. Let me get the form, or go to the government ministry and get the form, or look, this is the website and whatnot, and apply, or bring the form and let me assist you in applying to get this grant. You know how much grant they are available? We have information in the studio here. They are really plenty grants.
More than 50.
More than 50. But in the in the United National Congress areas, they won't tell you that, because they want you to believe they are brainwashing you, because they know you are gullible, right? They want you to believe there is nothing available for anybody.
And you go across to those very said PNM areas, right? Those areas that the PNM really and truly has their stronghold in. And you're going to realize that they have the opportunity to access.
They access it.
To access all these grants.
You have to apply.
Look, for example, let me give you an example. You're going to realize this. If you are a parliamentarian representing a cadastral constituency, and you cannot represent your constituency, the best thing to do, don't only wait for 5 years and 10 years so that you could get a retirement pension as a parliamentarian. People, hey, let me tell you something. Those things are so trivial. Because sometimes you wait, you get 10 years, you get the opportunity, and a lot of people boasting right now in Parliament, well, you know, I have 10 years, so I don't care about nobody again, because I fix.
Yeah, I fit for
I will
life.
get what? I will get my parliamentary pension, which is going to be an exorbitant fee, and I'm going to live a good life.
Then you went there for all the wrong reasons.
So the problem here, Trinidad and Tobago, those of you who are locked on, we have an opportunity knocking on our doors. We have to examine carefully. When we look and see what is taking place, we are seeing that it seems as though certain elements of the United National Congress, you know, people are they are being paid to change jerseys and jump ship and do whatever. But the point here is, nobody can dictate whether you win the election or lose the election until all the ballots are counted. And you know something? I am tirelessly seeing this very sad thing, that the EBC have stolen the election, or the EBC thief the election, or the EBC, the voter pad.
So the blame for losing the election is EBC.
Yes,
But
that's the buffer.
But we have observers. They are in our shores. They came here.
CARICOM observers who
Right.
talk with UNC, NTA,
and EBC, right? So the results of the election is going to be fair. There is no, you can't say this one thief and that one thief, and that is the reason why we lost. That is a very weak and lame excuse.
And it clearly indicates from the discussion they were having, and the discussion that was held, right? Basically, you would have seen that the NTA, right? You would have seen, you know what? Once you could bark a little bit loud, they're going to appreciate you and they're going to really and truly count you. But why the Patriotic Front was not there?
Exactly, I was hungry.
Right? Why the EBC selects? Now, these are questions. I can't ask that for you. I am not getting paid for that. I am not getting any remuneration for that. You ask the relevant question. So on Monday, when you lost the election, don't come and say they thief the election, because you wanted international observers. The woman came out there, come back, bring back that director. The person who is in charge just said that she is not voting, or she's not aligned to no political entity. You have to believe that, because many people tell you that, so and so, I'm not voting anybody. Look at this. 8 trade unions declared independence from political party support. Now you tell me 8 trade unions declares independence from political party support, right? Clearly indicate. Now these unions, they know for a fact that here what? We cannot dictate to our membership who to vote. They could use it as a bargaining chip. Just like Mr. Nizam Mohammed saying the Muslims should withhold their votes and ensure that repatriation will take place or something like that. But these things you can't use election like that. Election is not a footstool where you're gonna just prop up on it. You have to motivate. You have to agitate constantly. I was in a lot of meetings with that repatriation issue, right? And every time you go there, you hear the people blowing their own horn. Well, you know, I was given the mandate by the PM, by the Prime Minister to do this. No, we don't care about that. You want to bring back the nationals. You want to bring back the Trinidad and Tobago nationals in our country. Where is the imams? Where is the maulanas? Where is the sheikhs? When you call a meeting, they don't turn up. Only a handful of people come out. So that is the reason why we are not unified. That is the reason why we can't get anything done when it comes to the Islamic community.
Mr. Nizam Mohammed, sir, with all due respect to you, I know you personally, you know me personally, you are way out of time with that talk.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking. You were supposed to come out long before and been lobbying. You know, Dinesh Rambali, the former MP for Shangona, was lobbying for that.
Yeah.
Do you know how Nafiza Mohammed, the daughter of former politician
PNM
Kamaluddin Mohammed, was lobbying for that? Where were you, Mr. Mohammed? Where were you?
So basically using that, using that as the psychology or the
to withhold Muslim
your
votes.
vote. No, that wouldn't work. And let me just use an example. Right? Okay. Let me just use this as an assumption. All right. People say, well, Nizam say this, we're not going to vote. Then what is going to happen here is that you are going to ensure that a certain party win the election. Basically, by you doing that, and then you know what is going to happen? Come Tuesday, the dollar is being devalued, or something happen like that, or you don't get any foreign exchange, or anything as such, you're going to say, well, here what? You know something? It was my fault. No, you wouldn't say that.
Never say that.
You'd never say that.
Neither would Mr. Mohammed.
You're going back now and attack the same government that is in power. Well, you know something? We this, that, the next. I tell you something. You and I today know for a fact what is going to take place. You cannot. I tell you this again and again, and people will tell you this. You cannot be doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and expect to get different results. That is sheer madness. That is sheer dotishness. Doing the same thing over and over and over and over and expect to get different results.
So, Imam, let me just add some pepper and salt to that chow where you make the verbal chow. So, you had 29 seats in government, People's Partnership Government, in 2010 to 2015. All right? In 2014, Larry Hawaii, your finance minister, stood up in Parliament and said, we're going to bring on the property tax. Not so?
Yeah.
Right? And we're going to implement it from 2017. However, in the meantime, we are going to do the evaluation of commercial properties and factories and agricultural lands. And then, lastly or finally, we are going to evaluate the residential properties. All right? Here now, with all of that going on, you come and lose the election. You can't be doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result.
Yes.
Then in 2020, then in 2020, you know, when the PNL was at its weakest, then in 2020 they were even weaker than the weakest. And you know what the UNC did? You know what you did, Ms. Kamala Prasad Bissessa? You took defeat out of the jaws of victory. Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
Muslim and voting, read this before you vote. Stick to the principles, taqwa and ikhlas. It's a big trust and amana. Don't take it lightly, it's a huge responsibility. Choose the best candidate, not on reels. Stay politically aware, don't follow blindly. Scrutinize the manifestos, know what they stand for. Ask the right people and seek advice. Think holistically and rationally. Make dua to Allah for guidance.
friends, to our program Hardfacts on Sentinel Media Live Broadcasting. With me in studio is our Reverend Imam Rashid Karim, the CEO of this station. A very, very powerful station, my friends. Tons and tons of information are coming into the studio. We can't show all, we can't speak about all. You know, some is very, very incriminating, so to speak.
Yeah.
We can't do that at all. Now, my friends, we have made this call months ago. And that call is that United National Congress has 19 seats. They are sitting in parliament with 19 seats as the opposition. All right? The People's National Movement, who is in government, they have 21 seats. That's what you mean?
22.
22,
Yeah.
23, right? Whatever they have. But they have the majority, so to speak. With 19 seats in hand for the opposition, can you tell this country tonight, or Thursday night, or Friday night, or Saturday when you're having your big rally in Arangwes, which are the PNM seats that you are going to grab from the PNM, win it, and form the next government? That's a question.
Exactly.
You want to answer that?
Yeah, exactly. So those of you who are locked on, you see, 1988 thing, that, you know, the party trying to, you know, utilize the forum to bring back a sort of resemblance of 1988 when the party was formed and go back to their homes and so forth. That's the place of birth. Now, my friends, Trinidad and Tobago, we have to really and truly analyze carefully the question that Prem Chand asked there. 19 seat. Where are we going to get the next 2 seats? Knowing for a fact that maybe the 2 Tobago seat has been banking upon by the United National Congress. And when we saw, and we are seeing leak information coming out in the open forum, in social media, and what have you, you're going to realize, my friends, that those 2 Tobago seats are going to remain right there where it was in the past. And
you know why Tobago never get, how to put it, they never get their own independence, so to speak, if that's the right term, or self-governance and whatnot? It is a strategy that has been used by the People's National Movement from the days of Eric William, not to give them self-governance. Because, you know, that is a 2 sure seat that can decide whether the People's National Movement stays in government or goes into opposition. In other words, they are closely linked with the PNM.
not that alone, Prem. I'll tell you something. The people of Tobago at this point in time, being self-sufficient at this point in time, look and see what infrastructure that they have. The only thing really and truly that Tobago have that could really and truly generate a positive income to really and truly finance the economy of that country could have been tourism. And then we see, you know, the pollution taking place with criminal elements migrating from different parts of the world and staying there and living there and what have you. You're going to realize that that has deterred tourism, because once they hear Trinidad and Tobago, they're going to realize that, hey, this is not a place for me to go. And the government have a lot of work to really put out. The government of the day have a lot of work to put out. But again, self-governance is not an easy thing. Right? It is not an easy thing, because when you look at it, today you can't please everybody. Don't ever try to please everybody. Because I'll tell you something, when this explode, this coalition of interests, as we want to call it, the coalition of interests, that is going to have a massive explosion after, because people are going, if by chance, and we're just saying, if by chance they really and truly go into government, right, and you analyze carefully what is going to take place. This one want to be...
When demands are not met.
What is going to happen? There's 5 or 6 ministries that gets the largest budget allocation. And you know something? The guppies of the party, they would like to gravitate to those ministries. And that is where the problem is going to really and truly occur. And my friend Trinidad and Tobago, we have to really and truly understand carefully, do we want that to happen? In the first year of governance, the dissemination takes place. Ministry of Trade and Industry, Minister Paula Gopi-Skoon. I still wait, and I think you, Miss Minister, I think you have taken that too lightly. Because we saw 2 weeks ago, and that would have been a major setback when it comes to the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Because you know something, there's allegation of $3.6 billion missing, and 74 million here, and this, that, the next, and what have you. Now, when we saw that here, we saw that on this station, this network, we saw $27 billion was spent by Ministry of Trade and Industry under the watchful eyes of Minister Paula Gopi-Skun, and we thought to ourselves, hey, that figure is very exorbitant. And lo and behold, a call was made to the ministry, and the response came to us that it was only $27 million.
And not billion.
And not $27 billion. And I am still waiting. Why has that statement not been retracted by those newspapers and put in the front page that, we made an error? Huh? Why it is that the very said economists didn't say, well, here what? The paper carry a wrong story. It was not 27 billion, but it was 27 million. But you know what? They left that in the minds of John public outside there to believe now that here what? The Ministry of Trade and Industry have, there's a lot of inconsistency and there's a lot of fraud and there's a lot of, if you want to put it, thieving taking place at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, right? If you want to call it that. But what I'm saying here, we are big people. We trying to understand. We are trying to dissect. We are trying to really and truly let John public know what is taking place in our country. And when somebody say 27 billion and they mean 27 million, something is adverse, is not right, and that should be corrected. And I am still waiting to see a retraction from that very said newspaper stating that it was not 27 billion, but it was 27 million. And when you check it up, 27 million being allocated for what? SME, which is that? So what is the SME?
Small and medium businesses,
enterprises,
yes.
Right? You're talking about for one whole year, $2.7 million was spent. That is small. That's chicken feed. You can't even buy agriculture. You can't even set up a process plant. So this, my friends, is information that has to be cleared up, and we are calling on the relevant agencies to bring that forward. Again, we are hearing on the ground floor, people are saying that no new water connection, WASA connection is being made. For what reason, we don't know. So the next thing is that from next week, we're going to do some investigation. We're going to call whoever is the Minister of the Water and Sewage Authority. Yeah, we're going to public utilities, yeah. And we're going to find out why it is that. Another thing is why it is that TNTech, why it is that when somebody, if it's a development where there's 50 or 60 houses, we don't have a problem, they should foot the bill, and maybe you all pay half and half or something like that. But when an individual who has been given, a lot of land, and it is about 200-300 feet away from the road, why it is that they have to pay for a transformer and 2 poles, costing maybe 30 and 40,000, and in the first place, they don't even have that kind of money. Right? So that means to say that you set back that family, go back in Flambeau. Go back in the Flambeau days. Go back in the petrol stove days. Go back into that era, because you know why? You are not catering for your people. So these are questions that we're going to ask after the election. Right? So Trinidad and Tobago, those of you who are locked on, we are asking you all really and truly that to understand this. Politics is not a simple thing. Right? That's the reason why a lot of people today, politics could either make you or break you. And a lot of people are understanding that. For example, let me give you an example. If Kamal Prasad Bisasa lost this election, really and truly, that would have clearly identified that she have failed when it comes to politics, because that would have been a hat-trick. And you know something? Having a hat-trick of 3 general elections being lost, 15 years, that clearly indicates that you were not worried. You will not worry. And the question begs to be asked, if that is the case, who is next? Who is going to, because I tell you something, if Kamala Prasad Bisasa lost this election come Tuesday, right, and somebody is going to have to replace her, right, and who is that individual she is going to put, or the party is going to put to replace her?
More in-house fighting.
You're going to realize that. So basically, you're going to see a self-destruction of the United National Congress.
And the emergence of probably a new opposition.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we'll take a break again, Director, and we'll come back to you in just a few moments. back, friends. Welcome back to our program, Hardfacts, on Sentinel Media Live Broadcasting. My friends, this is a live recording. It's a live program. We are live here in studio, and it's an unedited program. The Imam and I, we don't have any discussion except of extending pleasantries to each other. When we come to the studio, I do my thing, the Imam does his thing, and that's how it goes. Now, property tax. That's a sort of a hush-hush issue with this election. It came up in the beginning of the race, and it is sort of a hush-hush now, under the coverlet, so to speak. On both sides of the political fence, the People's National Movement and the United National Congress, the question is out to both of you, because both of you are vying for supremacy to sit in the House of Representatives as the government. Tell Trinidad and Tobago, what are your plans for property tax? Both of you, Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the Honorable Prime Minister Stuart Young, the citizens of this country, they are a little bit confused where that is concerned. They want to know exactly where do they stand, whichever government comes into power, where do they stand with property tax, Imam?
And we could give you all a suggestion here. We could give you all a suggestion. Basically there is certain areas, that is downtrodden in our country, right? There are areas that people really and truly, when you look at it, we call them the underprivileged set, right? Places like, we don't want to say Beetham alone, but different areas, like squatting areas and areas that people, maybe having challenges finding jobs and so forth. Those information, you all should have that. If you all don't have that information, then vacate your position.
Imam, you're right,
the government,
because it is not coming out clearly and understandably from the political platform, and that is what people are really, really concerned about with this general election.
And you know what, I abhor this, right? I abhor this, right? When people would go across there and the whole ceremony, the whole function is geared on praising the leader. Praise the leader, praise the leader, praise the leader.
And find fault with the
right?
And
that is not how it's supposed to be. I mean, praising the leader once, twice, okay, no problem. I'm talking about both sides of the fence. Huh? And you know what we are talking about here? If you are government, you would have acknowledged by now that there are certain areas in our country that really and truly needs help. Right? That community needs help. You cannot, right, give somebody, let me just give you an example. You want to charge property tax, right? And that area, the area that an individual is living, there is so much hardship, whether it be infrastructure, road, water, electricity, Wi-Fi, internet service, and they scarcely get those types of services. Why it is that you're going to charge the same property tax for this house and that house there that has everything, that gets everything, up to mark, 99, 100%, and these people getting 5 and 10%, why it is that the both sector have to pay the same property tax?
Another thing,
you all can't think about that?
Another thing, you looking at an individual, a little 2-bedroom board house, they put a hammock hanging, that they had a little mangrove post or the TNT old post for whatever, a board step, and they put a little table in front of the house, Imam, and when you watch in the backyard, you're seeing 2 ruta pak choy, 2 tomatoes, and they have a little table selling in front, trying to make something. You tell me, they are already half hungry or hungry. How are they going to pay property tax? These are things that need to be, get into your system, get into your mind before you determine who pays this damn property tax.
You see, that will continue happening as long as you know what, you are serving the leader. If you go there and you serve the leader, you might get chances. You wouldn't be like Dinesh Rambali and Anita Haynes, Roshtan Pare, Arai Ragbir.
So
you would not be like that.
Again, can I vex now, eh? What happened to the slogan, serve the people, serve the people, serve the people? What happened to that? It is the same United National Congress under the same leader, Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Where the effect of that slogan to serve the people, has it disappeared? Somebody swallowed it? Or has it gone into oblivion? You understand? Now it is serve the leader. If you don't praise the leader 100 times in your speech, you'll be chastised, and we know that. We know that. That MPs, they abuse and curse in the worst manner because you spoke for half an hour in the political platform and did not call the political leader name.
Exactly.
The honorable and that
exactly.
sort of thing.
So again, my friends, those of you, we have a lot of problems in our country. We have the murder rate escalating. Imagine people are being killed. But we're talking about whole families are being annihilated and being devastated and murdered in our country. father, son gunned down, on way to work and whatever. When we saw the video with the mother crying, you're going to realize that people are killing entire families in our country. These are things you have to join. Political parties don't separate. When you separate, you're causing more mayhem. The United National Congress, the PNM, you all have to come together, really and truly. This is a common understanding that you all have to have. Okay, property tax, come with a common understanding. Is it two countries that you all serve in?
It looks so.
Is it two countries? Is it two islands? I know Trinidad and Tobago, what I'm talking about is Trinidad, two island, where United National Congress will serve 340,000 and the PNM will serve 460,000 people. And is that the way we want to go?
That is what you call divide.
But I'll tell you something.
Rule.
I'll tell you something. Under what I've heard and I'm hearing, I'm listening on the ground floor here, Stuart Young, the Prime Minister, the present Prime Minister of this country, he's making a lot of headways simply because he's talking about equity. And that is something that many political parties in our country, they have not really and truly stood vociferously attacking the discrimination when it comes to equity. Why do you think that is a 1%? Why? Why can't there be a 10%? Why can't it be a 20%? Why? But why we have a 1%? We classify people as a 1% and then we classify people as 10%. No, this is one country. Everybody should be free. Everybody should be given opportunity to really and truly compete, whether it be in trade, whether it be in infrastructure, whether it be in religious persuasion, whatever they may strive for in this life.
Let there be opportunities
available. Let there be opportunities for everyone equally. I can't understand this. You going in a hospital, right? And that is not going to change. In PNM, in UNC, it was the same. In PNM, it's going to be the same. UNC, what is the difference? What is going to happen on Wednesday? What is going to change dramatically?
Nothing, Imam.
On Wednesday. What?
I said it in our last program. Tuesday coming after the election, the potholes remain the same. The crime situation is escalating. Low water pressure, high food prices, and property tax looming. Now, we're coming to the end of the program. Let me just raise this point here. The People's National Movement, they are promising a lot of things. And the Prime Minister, Stuart Young, is coming out very, very convincing, Imam. I have to say that.
Yeah.
I listened to him last night, right? He had some, I listened, he was the feature speaker, coming somewhere close to 10 o'clock in the night, and I listened to him. And we listened to the leader of the opposition, Mrs. Prasad Bissessa, also making promises. Now, promises is a fool's comfort. It is a fool's paradise. I go get a house, but I didn't live in.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you walk in a house, and where we give it in the rice land or in the swamp. That is a fool's paradise. And they know that you are fools. They know that you are gullible and you are naive and that sort of thing.
I laugh at this. Let me just give only an example. A teacher went to buy a well.
A what?
A well.
A pond with water?
A pond. A teacher, so the owner of the well sold him the well. And he collected the money and everything. So the next day, I want you all to listen carefully. The next day, the teacher who bought the well, he went there to dip out water from the well.
He will.
No, listen. When he went to do that, you know what happened? The man who owned the well, he said, I sold you the well. I didn't sell you the water. Now you have to pay for the water.
Yes. Good for him.
So you all, those of you who are taking chain up,
yes,
and you are taking the chain up now and saying, here what, this, that, and the next, and we just put we in power and we're going to do everything. We're going to make everything right. My friends, I want to let you all know, Trinidad and Tobago, you have to really and truly think, and think. That's a slogan in AA. Think.
Alcoholics
3 times.
Anonymous.
Yeah. Think.
So as I was saying, right, we listen, okay, let me hear. We have, what's that? Basmari from Maruga. Anyone in the UNC camp care about our country? All this cry about closing a refinery by the taxpayers have been subsidizing, but blocking every deal that the government makes to sell it. We have to be mad as a people to vote the UNC back into office. So that's a comment. Now,
that's a real important comment. Very important.
The point I was making here, right, is that a lot of promises are being made, and that that is politics. That is the perception that that is being drawn there for us to grasp at. Nothing is wrong with that. But as people in the audience, before you ring that bell and blow that whistle and wave that flag, and scream and clap and whatnot. Think. As Imam said, let me use the word think 3 times. Think, and think. Did they tell you where they're going to find that money? But you're clapping. Where are they going to find the money? One leader said, we will find it. Where will you find it? Do you have it buried somewhere in
IMF.
Where are you going to... You hear what the Imam say? IMF. You know what that means? It is my fault. World Bank, they're going to borrow money. Then $1 is going to go up to 15 TT dollars. Then the tube of toothpaste that you're buying from Pennywise for $11 is going up to $24. Your 5 pound of firewood flour they're paying $15 for is going up to $40. We got to be very careful.
Yeah.
Ask them. You still have time to ask them, where are you going to find the money and how are you going to generate the money? Are you going to reintroduce property tax again? Are you going to raise, license fees for vehicles, for tint and that sort of thing? More pressure for the people. I am just giving you the message. Don't hate me. Don't hate me.
Okay, so again, come back to that Moruga Tableland clip there, Director, the point where the person brought it up there. Anyone in the UNC camp care about our country. All this cry about closing down the refinery that the taxpayers have been subsidizing, but blocking every deal that the government makes to sell it. We have to be mad. You know something? When we were coming back from Moruga Tableland, and we were passing Trinidad and Tobago, we were passing, right? We were passing down in Debe and Barakpur and all those Valley Line and all those places, right? And I look at, and I was asking you, Prem, you remember asking you, I said those pipeline that is in the ground.
I pointed out to you one side.
Those pipeline has been rusted. And really and truly, anybody going back to reinvest in the Petrotrin
is a new refinery.
Is a new refinery.
Hundreds of billions of US dollars have to be brought in here.
So again, Trinidad and Tobago, we have to be very, very careful, mindful, really and truly, if you want a change or you want an exchange. The government has made their policies. We are seeing manifestos and manifestos. I tell you something, all those fake bloggers that we are seeing coming up overnight, right? And you would read it, you know exactly who is fake and not fake. Huh? Those people who coming out there and they're talking rubbish. You know for a fact, when you listen to them alone, they are critical about anything and everything that the government have done, but they are not saying anything that the opposition have been watching. You all understand there's something called aiding and abetting. If a crime is being committed in front of your house, and you are not seeing it physically, but you are watching in your camera, you are watching in your room, and you are seeing the man be attacking the neighbor, and you didn't pick up the phone and call the police, or you didn't raise an alarm, you are just as guilty as that person who committed the crime. You all know that? So when you talk about government not doing this and government not doing that, my friends, as we close our program here today, you have to rethink your position, whether you were opposition or you were just playing games with the minds and the citizenry of this country. Okay, so those of you who are locked on again, my friends, we want to thank you all very, very much. Thank you all very, very much for being part and parcel of our programming.
Let me just shout out one or two people here. Before we close, my friends, I would like to say, a midweek hello and shout out to Mr. Robin Bale from Whiteland, Trinidad, Ms. Devki Balkisoon from Marabella, Mr. Malo from Waiko, the Mercers from Diego Martin, Ms. Sumati Maraj, who is tuned in from New York, America, Ms. Savanta Tapa from Nepal, and our good friends in Guyana, Jamaica, and Barbados, they are looking on. So to you guys, thank you for joining us, and we will be here again tomorrow, hopefully, God willing, to bring you some of the updates that really what is happening and how our people are thinking and how the politicians are disseminating information so that we, the common citizen, can exercise our franchise to the best of our choice.
As I close, I want to call on the Islamic community in Trinidad and Tobago. Make sure that you exercise your franchise. Go out and vote. Go out and vote. Ensure that your vote counts. Because I tell you something, in three areas, three key areas in this country, Trinidad and Tobago, that difference is going to be felt. Number one is San Juan Barataria, number one. Number two is Moruga Tableland. Some people take it for granted. Moruga Tableland, right? And when you look, there's another area that really and truly slipped my mind, but this is somewhere in the Arima area there. Those areas really and truly really clustered with a lot of Islamic votes. So we are saying, my friends, those of you who are locked on, vote the right choice. Vote for a party that you believe is going to serve you. Vote for a party, my friends, with good, sturdy leadership. Vote for a party that you know for a fact have a good track record. And vote for a party, my friends, that you will have confidence in. I thank you, and may God Almighty bless Trinidad and Tobago.